Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to crochet this striped sweater, which is perfect for the summer, the beach, or just an everyday look. And if you're new to crocheting, don't worry, it's a beginner friendly tutorial and I'm showing you all the stitches. You need a 3mm and 3.5mm crochet hook. And of course 4 or 5 balls of each yarn color. We start by making a slip knot and then you insert your 3mm crochet hook and grab the yarn with your left hand, and then we are making chains, so you just grab the yarn and pull it through the loop on your hook, and this is the second chain and we need 9 more so that we have 11 chains in general. These are the 11 chains, and now we skip the last chain and place a single crochet into the second stitch away from the hook. Insert your hook into the chain, grab the yarn and pull it through. Then you grab the yarn again and pull it through the 2 loops on your hook. Again, insert your hook, grab the yarn, pull it through, grab the yarn and pull it through both loops. You should have 10 single crochets at the end of the row, and now you make 1 chain and turn your work. From now on we make single crochets, but only in the back loops of the stitches, so insert your hook into the part of the back loop, and just make single crochets as usual. After every row you chain 1 and turn your work. I'm starting with the 3rd row right now and we need 134 rows in general. If you want your waistband more or less wider, then you can adjust the row of chains, but make sure it's an even number. And in the end you chain 1, turn your work and insert your hook into the first stitch. Then grab the beginning of the waistband and put your hook through the first stitch. Grab the yarn and pull it through both parts on your hook. Grab the yarn again and pull it through both loops. As you can see, we're just making single crochets while connecting the 2 ends. So first insert your hook on the one side and then on the other side, and then connect it with a single crochet. Now you just chain 1 and cut the yarn. Insert your hook into the gap on the side of the first row. Grab the base yarn and make 1 chain. Now you yarn over, insert your hook. Grab the yarn and pull it through. You have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. This is called a half double crochet. The next stitch is less tighter than the other one. Now the stitch where you place your half double crochet is more tighter because it changes every row of stitches. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. You just continue with half double crochets until the end of the row, where you should have 134 stitches because we placed 1 into each row. Then you insert your hook into the first stitch, grab the yarn, and now you pull 1 loop through the other one, so we made a slip stitch. Now I am going to switch to my 3.5mm crochet hook. Turn the project around and continue making half double crochets, but with the other hook. Now this is the 2nd row that I'm crocheting, and we need 2 more so that we have 4 rows with the base yarn. You just make half double crochets into every stitch, and it should be 134 stitches every row if you're making the same measurements as I am doing. And also don't forget to chain 1 and turn your work after every row. This is my last stitch of the row with the base yarn. Insert your hook into the first stitch that we made. Grab the yarn, pull it through and make a slip stitch. And now I chain 1, cut the yarn and turn my project around. Then you insert your hook into the first stitch and connect the light blue yarn with a single crochet. And now you just do the same as before, so 134 half double crochets into every stitch for 4 rows, chain 1 after every row. Repeat the process until you have 3 big rows of each color, so 6 big rows in general, and these are 24 rows of half double crochets if you count them. Next you divide the 134 stitches by 2, so this would be 67. Don't forget to turn your work, and now place a stitch marker into the 67th stitch away from the beginning.
Now go to the end of the row and count 67 stitches from there. The two stitch markers must lay next to each other because both of them mark the 67th stitch, just from different sides. Start our new row into the third stitch, so you skip stitch number 1 and 2 and connect the beige yarn into the third stitch away from the beginning. Place a half double crochet into the next few stitches until you're almost by the stitch marker. This is my last half double crochet for the row because we are going to skip the last stitch next to the stitch marker. Then you chain 1, turn your work and continue with the second row. Crochet 4 rows with the beige yarn. Then chain 1, cut the yarn and connect the light blue yarn. Then you just do the same 4 rows with light blue and 4 rows with beige. The back piece should have 3 big rows with beige and 3 big rows with light blue. You can also pause this video to count the rows. We started the back piece on this side, so just go along the first row, and to find the start for the front row, we need to go to the left stitch marker, skip 1 stitch, and that's where we are going to insert our hook. Connect the beige yarn and place a double crochet into the exact same stitch. There should be 4 stitches between the start of the back and the front piece. Now you continue making half double crochets until you're almost by the end. So you end 2 stitches earlier, and again there should be 4 stitches between the front and back piece. This one doesn't count as a stitch because it's part of the slip stitch. Chain 1, turn your work and make 3 more rows with the beige yarn. Continue making rows until you have 2 big rows with the beige yarn and 2 big rows with the light blue yarn. Each row contains 63 stitches, and now I place a stitch marker into the middle, so this would be the 32nd stitch. Turn your work and attach the beige yarn and crochet until you're almost by the stitch marker. You should have 3 stitches left until your stitch marker, and now we are going to make a decrease. For this you yarn over, insert your hook, grab the yarn, and now you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and then stop, yarn over again and insert your hook into the next stitch, grab the yarn again. You have 4 loops on your hook, and now you yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Then you chain 1 and turn your work, and now we are going to make a decrease again. So you yarn over, insert your hook, grab the yarn, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again, insert your hook into the next stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, and then you pull the yarn through all 4 loops. Now you continue making half double crochets. At the end of the row you chain 1 and make another row, and we are going to make a decrease when you reach the neckline. So your third row should end at the middle, and you should have 2 stitches left for the decrease that we are going to make. Then you chain 1, turn your work and make another decrease into the next 2 stitches. And then just continue making half double crochets until the end of the row. Chain 1, cut the yarn, and then change to the light blue yarn. So this is my first row with the light blue yarn. I have 2 stitches left until the end and make a decrease. Now you just do the same. So after the decrease you chain 1, make another decrease, and continue making half double crochets for 2 more rows until you make your next decrease. So the decrease will always be at the neckline. After you have made 4 rows with the light blue yarn, you only make 2 rows with the beige yarn, and now we are going to start on the other side. For this you connect the yarn to the right side of the sweater and continue with half double crochets until you're almost at the middle. Then you should have 3 stitches left. We are going to make the decrease, so yarn over, insert your hook, grab the yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2,
yarn over again, and do it into the next stitch, and yarn over, pull through all 4. Now you chain 1, turn the project around, do another decrease, and then it's just like the other side. Left and right side should have 4 rows with beige yarn, 4 rows with light blue yarn, and then 2 rows with the beige yarn. Turn your project around and place a stitch marker into the 22nd stitch from the side. Connect your yarn to the side and then crochet until you have 1 stitch left, and then comes the stitch marker. Then you do a decrease, chain 1, turn the project around and do another decrease. Continue crocheting until the end of the row, and then just make 1 chain but don't cut the yarn. Now do the exact same row until the 22nd stitch on the other side, and don't forget to not cut the yarn, but I did it, but it's not a problem. Turn the project inside out so that you can see all the loose yarn ends, and that's the right side we need now. Go to the back side where we still have the yarn end, and then we are just going to crochet both parts together, the same as we did for the waistband. So you just insert it into the one side, then the other side, and then you just make a single crochet. As you see, it's the same stitch that we did for crocheting the waistband together, so you just make single crochets and connect the parts. I have 19 stitches left on both sides, but if it doesn't match up for you, then you can just crochet 2 stitches together, it won't matter in the end. Here you can see me crocheting the last stitch together, then you just make 1 chain and cut the yarn. When you turn the sweater to the right side, you can see that we have an even seam. And now do the exact same thing on the other side, so just crochet both parts together. Before we add the sleeves, I show you how it looks on my body. So you can see we have the V-neck, and this is how the 2 parts crocheted together look like. This is one of the finished sleeves, and it's made out of 14 big stripes, and only the first 3 stripes are a little bit different, and then it's just the same. So to start with the sleeve, we start with 1 row of single crochets. First you make single crochets into the space of the armpit, which means 6 stitches. I'm doing 3 in the beginning and then the last 3 in the end. Then you make 4 single crochets into the side of 1 big stripe, and it doesn't really matter where you place the stitch, it only matters that it's 4 single crochets. Then again place 4 single crochets into the next big stripe. Continue with always 4 single crochets into each big stripe, but when you get to the part where we crocheted the front and back piece together, you make 5 single crochets into the white stripe and then continue with 4 per row. In the end you should have 59 stitches, if not, honestly it doesn't really matter, it's more about the pattern than the amount of stitches. And normally I would turn around the project, but this time I make 59 half double crochets into the same direction. This was the second row, and now I'll show you the pattern. The first stripe is the only exception with 5 rows because we made the first row with single crochets. At the end of the third row, which is coming now, you make a decrease into the last 2 stitches, so you'll have 58 stitches in that row. Fourth row will be without decreases, so 58 stitches, and then make a decrease at the end of row 5. Starting with the first white stripe now, which has 57 stitches. Now it's always 4 rows and you make a decrease at the end of every second and fourth row. But as I told you, only the first 3 stripes are different, because after the last decrease at the end of the third stripe, you stop making decreases and continue with 53 half double crochets for 11 more stripes. After the sleeves are done, I'm going to show you how to crochet the cuffs, like the tight thing at the end of the sleeves. I don't know if this is the right word. For this I just made 30 rows of single crochet. You have 10 stitches each row and crochet into the back loops, so it's just the same as we did for like the waistband. And then I'm just crocheting it together like you did in the beginning. Now turn the sleeve inside out and also the cuff so that you can see all the loose ends. Insert your hook into 1 stitch at the sleeve and into 1 side row of the cuff, and then you connect the parts with single crochets like we did for the waistband or the front and back piece. The sleeve has more stitches than the cuff, so sometimes you have to take 2 stitches from the sleeve and connect them with 1 stitch of the cuff. In the end, connect the stitches, cut the yarn, and then you can turn the sleeve around again. And then you see we got this ruffled part with the cuffs. Next step is optional, but I crocheted a neckline. I made single crochets into every stitch around the neckline, and for the next row I'm making half double crochets but in the back loops of the single crochets. And after that you're done, so the neckline is only 2 rows and then the sweater is finally completed. This is me trying on the sweater for the first time, and can you see that pride in my face? I'm really proud of the finished result. I thank you all for watching this tutorial, and if you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and you subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Thank you and see you next time.